Episode 3 of The Mandalorian Season 3 is now streaming on Disney Plus, and we did not get a screener for this one. This time we only had to watch it, as it went live, which is totally fine. But there are going to be some spoilers in this review. You have been warned, and if you have seen the episode as it's just aired, then we're going to talk some details about it. At the end of the last episode, Din Djarin had cleansed himself in the waters at Mandalore, and so he was technically redeemed. However, trouble comes a knockin' when TIE interceptors and bombers attack, and eventually him and Bo-Katan have to get out of that place, and they eventually go somewhere later on in the episode, but then it cuts to Coruscant, where we're introduced once again to Dr. Pershing, played by Omid Abtahi in the last 2 seasons, and he's in this season as things are changing. He's no longer constricted to the Empire. He's starting to be, more reformed, and he eventually is being part of the New Republic, although his work, which he was doing back then about cloning and stuff like that, is calling him back. And then when he eventually runs into someone who was working on Moff Gideon's ship, eventually he realizes, well, there's a lot more here and there's a lot more connections to be made. I thought this was a great bottle episode. A bottle episode is like one of those things where the entire season is going on, the whole story is continuing, but there's another story that plays out for a little bit. It's actually very similar to the other Pedro Pascal show at the moment, which also had a very similar episode 3 in terms of like a bottle feeling, where it told its own story for a second and then it got the rest of it playing out. But all of that factors into the main plot, but I think this episode was great because Pershing as a character I wanted to see more of. I wanted to see more exploration of him, and I think the fact that we get that in this episode is great, and Omid Abtahi is really, really great in it. The second in command to Moff Gideon, who we have seen before, she's in this, played by Katie O'Brien, and she's great. It's really great seeing her. I think what they do is cool because he's trying to continue his work, but the world is changing around him, and things are developing in very different ways. But you get to go around Coruscant quite a bit, which I'm sure is going to please a lot of fans of the prequels. You get to see so many different things that, may seem very, very familiar to you, and seeing them in live action again is probably going to get a big cheer. I can guarantee if this played at like an expo or something, sort of like those first couple of episodes of Obi-Wan, this would have been cheered on like crazy. It would have turned into a rave scene. But you do get a lot more of like how things have evolved over there. There's this whole theme park-like attraction, which plays very interesting music. It's playing March of the Resistance, which is in episode 7, The Force Awakens. And so hearing the Resistance theme play as like a theme park thing was really, really cool. I really like that part of it. But the episode plays out in a very interesting way. You get these really interesting dynamics between the two of them, as well as how the new program seems to be working in terms of trying to convert everyone that was involved with the Empire to the better world. Some people are trying to be more reformed. And so there's a lot of thematic elements that they handle in there. And once again, it's going into the political side of it, similar to what Andor was doing, which seems to be the baseline at this point. I'm at the point now where I think I've realized what they're doing when it comes to the newer Star Wars stuff, and I like it. They seem to be going more into this ground level stuff. And I think it's one of the best things that they can do. And so I'm glad that they're telling these stories. There's things that come up about cloning and to like DNA and how exactly Pershing is doing his program, which did kind of hint at things that come later. I was talking to my friend while I was watching the episode for a second, and I was like, "Oh, are they doing the thing? Like, are they hinting at the fact that this is what leads to what happens in episode 9?" I guess we'll find out, but I thought that was interesting. Overall, I really liked the episode. Eventually, as it continues, you get a moment with Bo-Katan and Din Djarin as they land back with the other Mandalorians, and eventually it's like, oh, you've been redeemed, and so now what? But there are enemies on the way that are chasing after them, and so I'm assuming a big battle scene is yet to come, and I'm very excited to see what that's going to be. There's so much fan service imagery in here and there that it feels like this has like Filoni and Jon Favreau, they're all over this thing. And so if you're somebody who is against like fan service or stuff like that, you're probably going to be a little peeved off at this episode. But it's not like, look at that thing. It's not quite like that. Like I think people might think it is. It's just more about the setting. Like you'll see things at Coruscant and be like, oh, that's the prequel image. That's that looks like that. I think there's a couple of shots, in fact, that are stock from like the 4K of Revenge of the Sith. I wouldn't be surprised if it is. Like there's this one panning shot, and I thought, oh, that is eerily similar to a transition shot that's in Episode 3. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it. But overall, I was a really big fan of the episode, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. Let me know what you guys thought of it in the comments down below. Have you seen it yet? And what you're excited to see going forward? What do you think of Season 3 so far? Guys, thank you very much for watching. Look forward to more reviews very soon. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe, and may the Force be with you.